Y'all, I live in DC. I live in Southeast DC. And I am here to tell you that I feel perfectly safe and perfectly fine. And then on top of that, I work in Navy Yard where all the teenagers, where all the kind of chaos with the teenagers were happening over the summer because it's summer and a lot of them just didn't have anything to do. Now I'm not here justifying the bad behavior that they got up to. I'm not doing that. But what I'm saying is, if I leave the office when the sun is going down, I feel perfectly fine walking to my car. When I'm driving home at night, I feel perfectly fine driving home at night. My life does not feel threatened. I am not tripping over unhoused bodies to get anywhere in the city. In fact, I honestly have not seen unhoused folks since winter. And I'm being very honest. I'm moving from LA, as many of you know. Now, I was literally tripping over folks in LA in my own carport. No shade to LA. I'm just keeping it a buck. That is not the situation here in DC. Let's be very clear about what is happening. Now, a lot of people are saying this is a distraction from the Epstein files. Y'all know how I feel about the whole distraction thing, right? Like, I think it's overused to the point where it just doesn't have any weight. What I think is, I said this on my Substack the other day. Remember, we're talking about a situation where the Speaker of the House dismissed Congress for what, like a month? So electeds are not here. Was that coincidental? Was that a whim or was that strategy? I am focused on the fact that electeds are not here in DC and this happened. Is that coincidence? Is that whim? Or is that strategy? Because if it's strategy, then we need to stop saying what's a distraction. Because when we say it's a distraction, what we do is not realize how these people are moving, that these are strategic moves. And I'm not trying to like give Trump, some super chess genius label. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is we have been kind of outmaneuvered, folks. And if we keep saying things like it's just a distraction, we are not taking things as serious as we need to take them. I don't believe in coincidences. Maybe that's just my security brain. But the fact that there are no electeds here and this is the time that Trump chooses to do this. And then on top of that young guy, Big Balls, got beaten up. Some say by two 15-year-old girls. Like, it's just all over the place. The story is wild and crazy. But my point is this. We need to stop underestimating the strategists who are behind the scenes, who are maneuvering around us. Because if we keep saying it's just a distraction, we will continue to be outmaneuvered. But trust and believe, y'all, I feel very safe in Washington, D.C. And if I'm being honest, what makes me feel unsafe as a Black person in Washington, D.C. is the occupant in the White House, because there's more evidence that he is targeting Black folks. Because after DC, he's mentioned Oakland, he's mentioned Chicago, he's mentioned Baltimore, places where there are Black mayors, places where there are a lot of Black bodies. Now, what he hasn't talked about is crime in red states. And another thing, I also find it insulting that the president is talking about criminals and the ugly language that he's using to talk about this so-called crime here in Washington, D.C. I have been talking about this for days, that crime is at a 30-year historic low, down by 26%, specifically violent crime. Crime is down in every single category. But here's the thing. One of the first things he does as president is to release violent January 6th criminals who hurt police officers. That's okay. But teenagers in Navy Yard or Black Howard students on U Street that's returning back to school for a new school year, those things aren't okay. This man is coming for Black folks. Why? Because we overwhelmingly vote Democratic. It's that simple. He wants to humiliate us. He wants to crush our spirit and our will. He has pushed out more than 300,000 Black women out of the federal workforce, and industry they're not picking us up because of how he has corrupted diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I also say shame on those businesses that comply. And then on top of that, additionally, there are about 100,000 Black men that have been added to that number. So we are looking at about 400,000 Black folks that are being pushed out of the workforce. He is targeting Black cities with Black mayors. He definitely cannot stand Black women. We are under attack. And it is not by teenagers in Navy Yard. It is not by Howard students on U Street. It's by the occupant of the White House. All right, folks, in a people's brief, I like to break down a few news items, things that are happening. So I had to get it off my chest about the realities of living in DC, and no, we are not being overrun by teenagers and unhoused folks. That's just not happening.